Hi, I'm Fatima Ouanssaidi and I'm an Under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them Under 40 CEOs.
Fatima Ouanssaidi is an experienced executive content producer with 6 #1 hit shows on 4 different South African TV channels. She has produced content on 3 continents in over 20 countries. She is an enthusiastic professional who enjoys working within teams as well as leading them. She has extensive skills in the areas of corporate governance, new business development, and financial management, as well as in-depth knowledge of project coordination, cost control, and employee motivation practices. She originally qualified as a lawyer at the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom and went on to develop notable expertise in the media, particularly in the areas of lifestyle, fashion, sports, and government communications. Fully dialed into the networked economy, she ensures that OnPoint PR, an award-winning PR and communications agency based in Johannesburg, South Africa, makes maximum use of ICT in order to maximize outcomes for its clients. Fatima is a co-founder and CEO at OnPoint PR. All right, welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Fatima.
Thank you very much.
All right, I recall the email introducing you to me. It said the British Moroccan, entrepreneur based in Johannesburg, and I'm like, this should be interesting.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah.
So tell me about growing up between cultures and countries.
I actually originally grew up in the UK. I went to school there, I went to university there, and then I ended up in the US for like 3 years. And then I ended up here, actually. So I've multiple continents, multiple cities.
How did you end up here?
Really, so how I ended up here was I came just before the World Cup. I was working with a company called Bounce Back Media, and I was we were producing some TV series for South Africa.
Okay.
A number of series, O Access, Fashion Rocks, a whole bunch of them. So I came here to continue producing those shows. And then ended up staying really because the World Cup obviously was in 2010. We worked through the World Cup, was involved in the World Cup in various different elements, and ended up staying and loved South Africa so much that I was like, oh no. Once that project was finished, I was like, oh no, I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
Okay.
I'm staying here. And really what it was I had identified some really amazing opportunities here with both my skills, and I had teamed up with some really interesting people to really come together and start OnPoint PR. So that's really my journey.
So I was privileged to take a peek at your CV.
Yeah.
I saw straight A's, a law degree, from Bristol University.
Yes.
But you tell me, what experience or what series of events, basically showed you the path to take as far as your course of study?
Yeah. So yes, as you're right, I studied law. I went all the way through. I did my degree, my LLB, I did my legal practice course, my LPC. I finished it, and then I decided that I didn't want to be a lawyer anymore, which my parents were very happy about.
Really?
Yeah, no, they weren't obviously. But what I found was really interesting for me was when I finally started traveling. My eyes were opened up to alternative careers, alternative experiences, and what I realized is that I love being part of a team that creates something new and builds something, and so for me that's really what took me in this direction. But I've had quite a varied career because I was an intern at the UN to the Moroccan embassy in the UN. I was there for a year. I then moved back to the UK, and then I joined a nutraceutical company called Equisen in their comms division and worked my way through that. And that's really how I ended up in the communication space. And I actually learned, I realized I had a knack for it, and I really enjoyed it. That then took me into production, because in communication you need to produce. You need to be able to produce content. You need to be able to produce video content, podcasts, writings, all very content-based. And that really was what kick-started the journey.
Let's go back to New York and your internship with the Moroccan ambassador to the UN.
Yeah.
How did that help shape your career? And what year was that again?
That was in 2003. That was really interesting for me because, it was my first time in New York, so I got to experience New York, which was amazing. But what it actually did for me was that it put me in a very interesting community. Obviously the United Nations, and I got to experience, because I was working very closely to the ambassador as almost like in an assistant role, where I was writing, translating documents, keeping minutes, organising diaries, usual administration things. I got to interact with some very interesting people from various different countries. And what that did for me was made me realise that I really wanted to travel. I really wanted to work in an environment where not only was I creating, but there was a level of doing good. My work was doing good, and it was contributing to society in a way, that in a positive way. And but above all, what it made me realise, what I've always known, is that I always wanted to come to Africa and work in Africa properly. That was always my vision. And being from Morocco, but obviously having grown up in the UK, I would come back to Morocco on the holidays, but I always knew that I wanted to explore the rest of the continent, and really that, for me, the UN was kind of the start of that, because of the people that I mixed with and the people that I met in this, and the experiences and stories that I was hearing about.
About Africa, yeah?
About Africa,
all right,
absolutely.
So same year, 2003, you were head of public relations at Equazin?
That was afterwards.
Yeah, right after.
Right after, yeah.
You went to Equazin. Was that a deliberate move, or just mere happenstance?
So I went back to the UK because the internship came to an end. So I had to move back to the UK. And I had an opportunity, really, it was a very interesting one, because I didn't even apply for the job. It kind of fell in my lap, so to speak. And I went through and I met with the team, and it was a very small team. It was a nutraceutical company called Equazin, and it was very small. It was a startup by the CEO was called Adam Kelleher, who basically became my mentor. Wow. And I joined the company when it was in its second year, so very, very early days in the communications division. And because it was so small, I was able to move very quickly up the ranks with my skills. And what it also gave me an appetite for was to really see at firsthand an entrepreneur at play. This young CEO, I mean, basically to start his company, he mortgaged his own house to get the finance, because he believed in his product so much. And that was very interesting for me to see as well. And also then realizing to be part of a small group, but how quickly we grew that company. And actually by the time Equazin was 5 years old, it got sold to a pharmaceutical company.
Wow.
And that was, again, fascinating for me, because I was like, wow, you could actually create something and in a very short space of time flip it and sell it.
Prior to establishing OnPoint and RIF, Fatima produced many television programs for Africa, including the 10/10 Youth Program, which aired on Mnet and Vuzu, and the O Access Music Show, which aired on Mnet and Channel O. During the period 2008 to 2010, she was the head of productions at Bounce Back Media, a US-based company which operated in South Africa, the United Kingdom, and United States. Her responsibilities included the management of all aspects of the company's operations, the development and implementation of strategy, and business development. Before that, she was the program manager for Students Partnership Worldwide in Washington, D.C. All right, you're going to tell me eventually, if you're planning to flip OnPoint PR, but then you co-founded OnPoint PR,
yes.
A lifestyle management agency.
Yeah. PR and lifestyle management.
PR and lifestyle management. Beautiful.
Okay.
So you're currently the CEO.
Correct.
When did this happen, and what was it created? What gap in the market was it created to fill?
So OnPoint PR, we started it in 2010. And really what it was there was three of us, three founders, and each of us came with a very unique set of skills. So, and myself obviously was from a communication perspective, but also I had from a production and content perspective, communication perspective, and also I had worked in the sporting field as well. So
nice.
I'll come back to that though.
Yes, please.
And then Vista Khalipa is one of South Africa's premier, like #1 public relations guru. And then we had a third partner as well, Paul. So we came together, and his was very much business development. So we came together because we actually had noticed that there wasn't really a PR. There's lots of big super PR agencies, but there was no one that really focused on lifestyle and sports, but at a very, what we believe, a very professional level, almost like giving a corporate service, but within the lifestyle space, which sometimes is lacking, can be quite lacking. And so that was really what brought us together, and OnPoint PR was started.
All right, so it says on OnPoint PR's website that you take pride in being a medium-sized agency. Why?
Well, often on the projects the campaigns that we work on, the projects that we work on, people think there's 100 people back there. And then they come and they see, wow. So I think there's a beauty in not being so big that you lose touch with both your environment, your industry, and then also with your clients. And so, it would be we have a vision to grow, but there's something about having that personal touch, personal interaction. Everyone knows, all my clients know everyone on the team. My team, we all know each other, all know our clients. There's very much of almost like a family type unit. Literally, when we started OnPoint PR, we had a laptop and a cell phone, and we were working at coffee shops, really, until we scored our first big account.
Wow.
And then that really then grew the business from when we got our first big account, and we had to go out there and we had to pitch, and we had to show our individual CVs of what we had achieved. And really, once we established that, it just, snowball. We started from 3, and now we are sitting at 11.
Wow. I see you've done some work across Africa. What are your expansion plans, really?
So definitely have expansion plans. I came to South Africa with a vision to work in the whole of Africa and not just South Africa. So we've been very fortunate. We have worked in various different territories on a project basis. We've worked in Mozambique, Kenya, Tanzania, even Ghana and Nigeria, actually.
Nice.
But those have been project specific. But we very much have an Africa vision. I think it's absolutely the only way. That was my vision of coming here in the first place. And on an almost personal level as well, I'd like to work on a way of how we can connect the North and the South better as well from a business perspective. Because we have, we offer some amazing skills in terms of what we do. And I know that it's something that's required across the continent. But what's important for me is finding those partners in the various different territories and working together with them. Because communication is very specific to your region that you're in. It's very region specific. And so, like I said, we have worked with various different partners in different territories. So there is very much a plan in place. Yeah.
All right, talking about across territories, who are your clients?
So we have quite a diverse range of clients, both past and present, that we've worked with over the last 5 years. And they're in sectors, so we have like the financial sector, we have corporate, business, government, etc. So and then individuals actually as well. So our biggest clients, I would say, are Nedbank, who are a bank, obviously, across Africa as well. We have the South African Book Development Council. We have ADT, the security company. We have the South African Book Fair. We have BRICS Journal, the Journal of BRICS, obviously, self-explanatory. And some of our past clients in terms of when we worked on projects, so when they've come to South Africa and done tours, and we worked on the communications and marketing, the Manchester United football team, the Brazil football team during the World Cup, then individuals. So we worked on communications for across the board in a lifestyle perspective, literally from your David Klale, one of South Africa's top South African designers, to 50 Cent, to Neo from the States, US artists and UK artists as well, Tiny Temper. So we're really quite a broad broad range.
Okay. So tell me about that one campaign that you executed, right?
Yes.
And left you feeling like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Like we did good work.
Yes. Okay. The one campaign, just one. But we have a number of campaigns.
Okay, maybe two.
Okay, two. Okay, give me two. Okay, so I think one of the biggest campaigns, and I'd say one of the most amazing experiences we worked on from a marketing and communications, was when Manchester United came to South Africa. And it was a 2-city tour with the team, and they played local team here. And that was incredible. It was really, obviously, first time we were working with such a big football club. And the interaction, we looked after everything from the radio ads, the TV ads, the posters, the street polls, the communications, and that was pretty impressive because we filled up 2 stadiums. One stadium was a 90,000-seater in literally 6 weeks worth of tickets being sold out, and there was no adverts per se. It was all below the line communication, which was really impressive because generally campaigns of that size also have above the line. They'll have adverts,
outdoor.
Yeah. None of that. We did just street polls, and everything was below the line. So that was really impressive.
Wow.
Another big campaign we worked on, which was really amazing, was the Nelson Mandela Sports and Culture Day, which was in honor of Nelson Mandela. We did that for 2 years in a row, and that was basically utilizing, and that was with the Department of Sports and Recreation, and that was utilizing how do we bring the nation together? And we utilise sporting activities. And each day, for July 18th, over the 2 years, we had various different sports activities. But the biggest one was when we did, on the same day, we did a road run, a cycling, and a walk through the streets of Pretoria. And we had 30,000 people come out in honour of Nelson Mandela Day. And we generated hundreds of millions of rands worth of earned media. So that was an amazing campaign to be part of, and also because it was obviously honouring such an icon for South Africa.
Okay.
Fatima's company also led the communications for Africa for the historic Global Citizen Festival, Mandela 100, which was held in Johannesburg in 2018. Over 5.65 million actions led to 60 commitments and financial announcements worth $7.2 billion, set to affect the lives of 121 million people. $3.6 billion of these commitments are the direct result of global citizen campaigns. This festival also brought together its largest contingency of heads of state, dignitaries, a group of the world's most talented artists and influencers, and thousands of global citizens to celebrate the centenary of Nelson Mandela. She continues to be the partner of choice for Global Citizen in Africa.
Tell me, what's the current business structure for OnPoint PR?
Okay, so from a structural point of view, obviously there's myself, and then I have my director of communications, Mr. Kalipa, and then within that we have various we have our brand strategist, who is our brand expert, and then within that we have our various team members, so account directors. So we're very much in like a traditional PR setup. We have your account directors, and underneath them you'll have your account manager, and then your PR executives.
Okay.
And then we have our events division, because there's a whole eventing. We have a database division, because there's a whole database division that required for what we do, from RSVPs, eventing, sending invites out. There's that whole section. And then we have a design division, so someone who does all our graphics design, all our creative work. And then we have what we call a content producer, who really focuses on all the content that we need to create, be it written content, photographic content, and video content.
Okay.
But then we work with various suppliers. So we are a core team of about 11, but then on average per project we can work with up to 40 people, because we have suppliers, we have various stakeholders. On any given project with big clients like Nedbank, you have multiple agencies. So you'll have the above the line agency, you'll have the activation agency, you'll have the digital agency, and we are the PR and media agency. And then you have your media buying agency. So on any given project from across the board, we'll have status meetings with our various different clients, and there could be up to like 20 people in the room, depending on the project.
Wow. So there's OnPoint PR, there's RSVP for events, there's
Events. There's Riff
Productions as well. How do you juggle all of these companies?
I don't sleep. I don't sleep. So I'm very lucky because OnPoint PR is a team effort, right? There's 11 of us, plus Vista Kalipa, my business partner. So I don't work in isolation. I have an incredible team, and we all band together, and everyone from account exec up contributes to making this company run and stay on point. Riff Production is slightly smaller in the sense that Riff Production is something I set up. It is called Riff Production because where I'm from in Morocco, my family, is a place called the Rif, which is in the north, in the mountains. So that's where my family is originally from. So that was an ode to Morocco. And that really, Riff Production, what goes through Riff Production is really all the television work that we produce. So, and again, you scale up. So when you have a production, you scale up for the production, and when you don't have a production, I have a core team that runs that company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the most critical lessons you've learned and can share on taking a business from zero to being profitable and keeping it profitable?
Yeah. Interesting, because this is a new journey for me. And it's been, I did my law degree, but I never went to business school. So, and within the law and the LPC, there's a whole accounting, financial section that you work on, and you learn basic bookkeeping and accounting, etc., and tax and etc. But I'd never actually done my MBA. So everything I've learned about business, I've learned on the job. I always say, literally, and I think what was important was that I have had and I still have some amazing mentors who guide me. But I think some of the key learnings are, from a personal perspective, is surrounding yourself with the right team. Because you can have great ideas, but if you don't have the right people around you and the right partnerships and the right team, it's very hard to actually action it off the ground in that instance. And by the team, I'm talking about having great people who can advise you from a financial expert, from a financial background, having great people who can advise you about the industry as a whole, and and also making sure you yourself have an understanding of the industry, what's happening in this industry, and also looking forward into the industry. Where is your industry going? How is it evolving? How is it mutating? Those are some of the key learnings, I think. Hi, my name is Fatima Ouanssaidi, and you too can be an under 40 CEO.